forest wild and free. Give me the fortune, give me the fortune, give me the fortune. Give me the fortune, give me the fortune, give me the fortune. In every heart a candle flame, in every heart a fire burns, in every heart a shining star, in every heart a golden sun. Give me the fortune, give me the fortune, give me the fortune. Give me the fortune, give me the fortune, give me the fortune. invoking Ireland, the great battle between the Tuatha Dé Danann and the Fomorians. When the outcome was still in doubt, the chief wizard of the Tuatha Dé Danann went chanting back and forth, forward. And so, burning of thirst, did he cause not just the mouths but the minds of the Fomorian warriors to find or thirst for water. But find it they didn't, because changing his chant, the wizard dried up the rivers and streams and lakes and wells of Ireland, and there they were, delirious, crossing bogs and climbing mountains, the sound of faraway, illusory waterfalls, calling them out over precipices to their death. Now, what the Tuatha Dé Danann did not yet know was that the wizard of the Fomorians could make himself invisible. And it was he, more clever than the Tuatha Dé Danann wizard, who single-handedly turned what they had thought was going to be a victory into their defeat. And this he did by going right to the heart of the camp of the Tuatha Dé Danann, into the fortress there, invisible as he was, and committing the greatest crime. He stole their harp, their great harp, their cherished harp, which had a name, and the name was Harmony with All Things. So the next day, at the very beginning of what was going to be their victory celebration, the Tuatha Dé Danann discovered and suffered their loss. Putting it to his lips, the chief piper could find no music in his pipe. Putting it to her lips, the chief trumpeter could find no music in her trumpet. And so on. Putting the bow to the fiddle, the chief fiddler could find no music in the fiddle. Even the drummer, putting the drumstick to the drum, could find neither rhythm nor music in the drum. And the chief singer could find no music in her voice. And the curlew did not call in the bog, and the blackbird in the willows did not sing. So the description is one of despair, is of utter defeat, despair, depression, the stuff that is just, you can't get out of it. And so it would seem that everyone in the Tuatha Dé Danann camp fell victim to this despair. But cheer up, not so. That very day, this is a poetic way of saying that they all fell into despair. That very day, the tongues of the Tuatha Dé Danann became the color and shape of cormorants' tongues, for the Tuatha Dé Danann were now the new Fomorians. Except for one. Ogma, the young warrior, did not capitulate to the countrywide epidemic. And the epidemic was one of forgetfulness and brutishness. Curious about him, the leader of the Tuatha Dé Danann put a question to him. "What is it?" he said. "Why are you not despairing? Is it your integrity? your integrity of being? Is it your integrity of decision and principle? What makes you the kind of man that you are? That's a great question. Whether man or woman. What makes you the kind of person that you are? Ogma, the young warrior, replied, "Nothing so frail as either." "Well, what is it then?" the leader asked. Ogma replied, "There is something more to me than my life." There's something more to me than my life. "And what is that something more?" asked the leader. "What is it? Is it in the mountains? Is it in the stars?" This is where it gets very Celtic. I mean, who today would ask that question? You know, really. I mean, what is it that makes you who you are? Is it in the mountains? Is it in the stars? This is very Celtic. Ogmar's response, "Without it, there would be no mountains and no stars." So he's really pushing it. So, your life deriving from it, would it also, without anguish, enable you to surrender your life? In other words, are you willing to die for it? And Ogma's response sounds sort of like Jesus. Ogma says, "It is only when I surrender my life that I most plentifully find it." And that's how it happened. From that day, the leader of the Tuatha Dé Danann took him seriously as a man of heart. And Ogma was the first and only question that bothered and intrigued the people. So maybe we'll stop there. It's about to get into Ogma's journey. So, before he departs and he's about to go into the camp of the Fomorians, just by himself, while everyone else is sitting around whining and despairing and focusing on woe is me, Ogma's different. His difference is he's about to get up and go for a walk into the camp of the enemy. So that's a good place to stop. And tomorrow night we'll finish it up and we'll hear how it is that Ogma was the person he was, what made him so different, and so on. But any thoughts on the story so far? Any response?
Exactly says what that something is that inspires them, but they seem to accept it without any concrete definition there. All that I can get is, well, without it there wouldn't be mountains or stars, but I'm not saying what it is.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. All they say is that Ogma becomes a kind of question for them, kind of mystery, kind of wonder. What makes this man who he is? Nobody knows yet.
But they accept him.
They accept it as a mystery to ponder.
He's got the answer, but
yeah.
That's pretty.
Yeah. And tomorrow night, we'll see a little more clearly, I think, what that something is. So no spoiler alert here. But at the moment it remains a question, and they're okay with that. They recognize something in him that is more than him. There's something in me that's more than I am more than my life, he says. Any other thoughts? So today is Martin Luther King Day, and the day when a new president takes the helm in the White House. I don't know how you're all feeling about it, but the country is radically divided about this. It's kind of like two different peoples
Yeah.
living in two different countries, maybe. It's a very serious division. And did anybody listen to the inauguration speech today? You did, Michael? What did you think?
It's Trump. He talks and talks and talks.
Talks and talks.
He holds too much pride. I don't know if you believe him. He's bringing God in the picture, which is, it's great to hear.
Yeah.
He's got too much ego, too much pride.
Too much ego, too much pride. Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. Do you remember how he started off his speech? I listened to it.
Oh, how did he start off? I can't remember exactly how he started off.
He started off in a way that no other president ever started off. And this may speak to your observation about too much ego, too much pride. But what he said was something like this. Today is the dawn of the golden era of the United States. Today is the dawn of a new golden era for the United States. Now, back in my time as a street kid, I would have responded to that by saying, that takes a lot of balls to say that. You know, that's a lot of chutzpah, to put it more politely. And it had the feel of like a kind of Roman emperor almost. The dawn of a new era, and I'm inaugurating it. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what that means, but there were many, many standing ovations and cheers for him. Many of his supporters, of course, came out. There were the other side. Not too many people expressed anything negative at the speech because it was indoors, and I think there were not any protests allowed inside. The protests happened, was it yesterday or the day before, when thousands converged in Washington, D.C. to express their disapproval. Yeah, that happened. But basically the picture that I get from the whole thing, from where I sit, is two different, very different feelings, responses, anticipations. On the one hand, you have a group of people who are cheering what is now called a new golden era for the United States. And on the other hand, there are people who are not cheering, who are voicing their deep concern about a radical, what they would call a radical departure from democratic principles and the rise of what some would call an authoritarian, even fascist regime, and are expressing their fears. Immigrant families. I didn't realize this, but there are many, many, I don't know even ballpark figure, but many, many, many people who are in this country without the proper documentation, who have lived here for decades, that have established families, that their kids go to school, they work every day, and for whatever reasons, they've just not gotten the proper documentation. There's now the real concern and even fear that those people could be deported. Because as I remember, now President Trump threatened as candidate Trump and even President-elect the greatest, what he called, mass deportation that this country has ever seen. So there are many, many people who are afraid that their mother, their father, their husband, their wife will be part of that because they have not proper documentation. And the people within the LGBTQ community now are expressing and have expressed consistently their concern and even fear that their treatment will begin to be even worse by the government, and marriages could be annulled, rights could be denied, and so on and so forth. Apparently, and maybe you remember, Michael, I don't remember, but there were the words that Trump uttered today in his acceptance inaugural speech, that he's going to get something out of the military. Do you remember what that was? I can't remember.
Well, he said everybody is going to be recognized as male or female. There's
Right.
only two genders. And, yeah, he said something about the trans. I can't remember. I mean, he didn't say we're kicking them out, but I think it's the registrations. Because, I mean, when he was president before, he handed everything to the states. It was a federal handle.
Right.
That's up to each state to do, just like abortion.
Right.
So,
Yeah. It was something to do with the LGBTQ community. I can't remember exactly what, but he seems now to be more emboldened, to get that agenda passed, and what it means for schools as well. The acceptance and support of LGBTQ students, trans students, is now being threatened. And many within the community are very fearful of that.
oh yeah, that's right. He said that he wasn't going to allow it to be pushed in the schools.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which nothing should be pushed in schools.
Yeah.
They don't give a school about that.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
The obvious, from those who feel threatened, from those who their hope is that people who support them, who love them, will be allies, will stand up, will speak out, and be in solidarity in real practical ways. So it's something that we can provide here, and it's obviously we had somebody here just recently who left one of the southern states because she anticipates life becoming much more difficult there.
There was a related article that Facebook or Meta today, after the inauguration, went through all the restrooms in their company and took out all the feminine support products from the male restrooms.
Oh, really?
Because they had been there and supported the binary,
Right.
non-binary, and
Right.
trans people.
Right.
So it's like a very ugly wave has already started.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. I think in the inauguration ceremony itself, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos were like seated in the sacred circle,
yeah.
which for the first time, I think, in the history of the presidency, this is now happening. And it was very clear, it was the symbol.
Oh yeah.
They were in the place of power, along with the other, what could be called oligarchs, the multimillionaires, even billionaires, were now clearly in the place of power surrounding the new president. It's something to be aware of, for sure. What exactly is going to mean, nobody knows for sure, but I think it's more important to be aware and to follow it. And the story that we're exploring with Ogma is relevant, because you have in the story two groups of people very different in their approach. One tears down nature, the other builds it up. And that was also part of the the presidential inauguration speech today, remember what he said about resources and the economy, the phrase he
They
used,
were gonna drill.
drill baby drill, right? That was it. So he's really moving, he wants to move much more in the direction of oil and gas and coal, and much less in the direction of solar and any kind of other way to create energy and so on. I think that phrase came from, didn't it come from the woman who ran for president once, or vice president?
I thought it was on a movie. Drill,
Is it a
baby,
movie?
drill.
Yeah, right.
So
Like,
when you
was
said
it-
it, I'm like,
Yeah, didn't it come from, I'm trying to remember her name, I can't remember. She was the governor of Alaska,
Oh, yeah,
my,
Sarah Palin.
yeah.
oh,
Her.
Yeah, I think that was her mom. At any rate, it's a speech I think is worth hearing, because if what he says happens, it's going to be a major shift in the direction of the country, and affecting every aspect of the country. Needless to say, will be affected. So, so the story that we're reading night by night, I think, is relevant. It offers hope. The story actually offers hope. You know, written, composed thousands of years ago, I believe. This story offers us hope, and the hope is in Ogma. Not a very attractive name, but Ogma is the one that stands and moves in a direction of hope and restoration. So he's someone to follow. And we'll see where Ogma takes us tomorrow night. But any other thoughts on this?
I was going to say, yeah, it's the way he does it
Mhm.
that's so fascinating.
Mhm. Yeah. And without revealing too much, Barb, the way he does it begins in his heart.
Mhm.
And I think, you know, Martin Luther King also was a kind of Ogma, in the sense that, you know, he refused to respond to hate with hate. He refused to become violent when violence was aimed at him, and it was, obviously, in his death. He refused, and he found another way to respond to anyone and everyone. And for him, it was nonviolent love. It was the Gandhian approach. Active love in the face of active violence. But it started in his heart, and that's what he followed. We'll finish up tomorrow night. Close with a song. more lovely than the moon, more radiant than the sun, and fairer than the rose is the love of the one whom I love, is the love of the one whom I love. Our eyes, our eyes, my love, my dove, my beautiful one, our eyes and come with me. For the time of singing has come, for the time of dancing has come, for the time of loving has come to us all. I will go to the one whom I love, I will go to the one whom I love, I will go to the one whom I love. Our eyes, my love, my dove, my beautiful one, our eyes come with me. Our eyes, my love, my dove, my beautiful one, our eyes and come with me. Our eyes, my love, my dove, my beautiful one, our eyes and come with me. At the close of this day, we give you thanks for your great love for all peoples everywhere. May we become bearers and sharers of that great love in the midst of profound change in this country. May it be so.